ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Ralph's Automotive. Obviously, 2004 Toyota Tacoma. I've had this gentleman over here the other day, and I looked. I don't have one of them on my channel, so I figured I want to do a break video on this. Anyway, I had the gentleman over here the other day. Couldn't get the calipers, so we have them today. He came back, so we're going to go through. We're going to do brake pads, we're going to do the calipers, we're going to do rotors because they got ate up. So we're going to refresh everything. I did use 2 of the brake pads. Don't panic, be alright. 21 mil, ladies and gentlemen, if it's factory. These wheels are factory. So there's you a good shot of the wore out rotor. It's a crying shame because these were performance rotors. They're drilled and slotted. Well, they were at some point in time. So let me grab a light over there. These brakes are a little bit different than conventional brakes. Also the reason why I opted to go ahead and make the video, because these are a little bit different. Find a better spot. I think that'll work right there. That don't blind the camera. Of course, steering wheel is locked in. That was ate up. And the big deal on this one here is the I can't remember. Well, either side, I forget which one it was now. It's been a little bit. But anyway, one side, the pistons wasn't even moving, so we had a, well, duh. Now I feel stupid. On the rear, the pistons wasn't even moving. Obviously, since it ate the front. So the pads are virtually brand spanking new. There's more to that story. Anyway, there's also on the other side, there's one of the nails missing. The shoe nails, what I call shoe nails anyway. I don't know if that's a technical term, it is now. So this side here is working perfectly fine, so I stuck the pad. And I don't want to make a long explanation. A pad that's virtually new, used, that I got out of the back side of it, I stuck it in the front so we don't eat any more off the rotor. Not that it mattered, but anyway, I was there, I figured, why not? So when I took the rear pad and I put, or the new pad, put it in the rear, because obviously didn't have enough pads to go around, so I had to do that. So, the pad, ladies and gentlemen, you see here, that's the new surface. That pad is not hurt at all. There's no problem with using that pad. To get you a close-up on a clean unit, this is what they look like. They do have 4 pistons in it, so like I said, rear on this one is seized. Easy way to tell what's what. Look at the bleeder. Okay, you take your ears over here and hold it like this is. Your bleeder is on the top. That is the highest point on the chamber. We can bolt the other one perfectly fine. We can bolt it up perfectly fine. Only problem with it is you're never going to bleed the brakes because the bleeder is going to be on the wrong end. In other words, you can't bleed it when the fluid's going to run out of it. There's always going to be air trapped in it. And this way it obviously don't mount, so that's what makes them left and right, ladies and gentlemen. Just figured I had that in there. Anyway, as you can see, we had that, well, I'm telling you, we had that problem on both sides. These are pretty crummy. Everything is pretty much messed up. The line going up here, it's crap. I mean, they used pliers on it. They put performance rotors on it, but then they kind of rigged the brakes. Anyway, I'm gonna be totally radical with this when I say this. And I know I might get some hate out of it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you don't want to hear what I got to say, move on, go to another channel. Because I'm kind of getting tired of hearing people tell me, well, if you would do more and talk less. No, not on my channel. I talk more and do less. Nah, just kidding. But anyway, the whole point of this is for me to explain things. Some or most of you like it, so that's what I'm going to go with. We want to use these nippets on these on this brake line because they got it chewed up. I mean, take my word for it, it's chewed up. There ain't no wrench going on that. I did take the cap off the brake reservoir on top. That way it'll flow hopefully a little bit easier. Of course, that's got water in it. All right, look like rust coming out of it. Well, essentially, that's probably really what's going on. But anyway, I don't. The camera ain't gonna pick that one up. I'd love to show you that one. That's a good one right there. Can't say that I've seen that. I mean, I've seen it, but it's been a while. Been a minute or two since I've seen it. Let me see. All right, let me show you this. That's kind of funny. I mean, right there's a brake fluid. It's got rust water in it. So we're gonna put new fluid in it anyway. So I'll flush this part out of it. Not that big of a deal. I just think it's kind of humorous a little bit, you know. Brakes on this thing, god awful. You look up top, it is pretty black. I mean, it is pretty black. I really thought about going ahead and sucking all that stuff out. Probably should have. I really didn't think about it anymore. I had that thought, but gave up on the thought, so I'm just going to let that drain out. I'm not too big of in a hurry, so it'd be alright. Anyway, I'm going to pause that camera up. Yeah, here's just a little something I'm going to add in there. You know, there's some people that think, well, making a brake video, you know, how lame is that? Well, let me show you how lame it is. Well, I don't know that the camera can pick it up, but people that had this here, they actually pried on the pistons. They got little notches all in the piston faces, you know. So how lame is it to make these brake videos? I don't know. You tell me. Now, like I said, on these here, it's actually a shame because these are the rotors. They were not cheap, I guarantee it. So, anyway. Here's another good one. They completely crushed. I'll show you in just a second. Let me get this done. This is the time where you give up working on automobiles and do something else. You see that right there? Dust cap? It's got a hole in it. I mean, you know, you should never do that kind of stuff. Not a sponsor. So much on there. You don't have to do the rotor. No need in it. Now we're going to put the wrong one on. Nah, just kidding. $17mm, by the way. I don't know if I said it or not. Getting old, can't remember. Forward again. Torque to spec, just kidding. We'll be here in a second though. Like I said, we did reuse a pad, so we'll have to this is going to be hard to see, so I'm going to try to explain it to you. Before you even try to thread it in, your fitting, before you even do that, make sure that your angle and everything is lined up. Kind of look at that before you put it on. Make sure your angle with the thread and all that good stuff is lined up with the caliper itself. It's a whole lot easier to start it that way than it is to try to fumble around and trying to get it started. I'm not quite lined up on this one. I can already tell. I should have kicked the wheel out. Its steering wheel is locked, never mind that. I'm not climbing up there. Unfortunately, Toyota opts to use a metal line, so we'll have to just do what we got to do here. That one ain't coming off. I'm not even going to mess with that one. I was going to take it off. Look at it, but leaving the camera rolling is so you can see what it actually takes to do this job. You know, we can make it look easy on camera, but that's not always going to be the case. So sometimes it just takes a minute. That one is not willing to start. So guess what? pause the camera up, kick it around. And by the way, sorry about the fan noise. Fan stays on, can't help that. I'm not going to sweat like crazy because people have a problem with fan running. Put our brake pads in place. We get our spreader in here. So we hook our spreader in the holes. Get you over here, hopefully you can see. I don't know. Who knows? I'm trying. I am trying to get this in the shot, so I'll have to. So they'll give you 2 of them. That's what they'll give you in the package. Yeah, because you can't do more. That's all that you ever get. Anyway, there that is. And anytime you get brakes, you get new little clips with it. And we'll put the clips in here. Generally, when you're doing the brakes again, you've got to make sure that you have these clips. I've never known them not to be wore out, meaning they don't need to be going back in. But that right there is a good assembly right there. Nothing wrong with that. So in a nutshell, kind of see the angle right there? That's the angle that you need to be in. As usual, I'm not going to film the other side. I will turn the camera on, however, when I bleed the system. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and pause you up. Alright, going to be using DOT4 brake fluid. Mind you, get the camera over here, get that camera angle just right. Does have a bleeder over here. I'll let that gravity bleed. Gravity bleeding is perfectly fine. The front and the rear chambers on this system are separated, so when you drain in the front, it does not drain the rear. So you're okay on that. So we'll let, I cleaned the bleeder up. So let that gravity bleed out of here. These brakes, like I said, they were terrible. This is actually running out now. I'll help this out a little bit. In case there's any air bubbles that are lodged, they'll move on with the vibration. My pressure bleeder is actually broken, and I threw it away the other day, so I'm gonna have to do this manually the old way. Okay, now as you all know, I got a vacuum pump, so I'm going to use it. My pressure bleeder, like I said, crap, so do this with a hand pump, of course. I've got this electric pump. I'm gonna pull some fluid through it. It's pretty nasty coming out of there, so if you look at my previous videos, you also know that I replace everything DOT3 with DOT4. Don't use it anymore. I don't use the DOT3 anymore. I cut this off for just a second, and technically I'm really starting on the wrong side. This is more or less just to show you there's more room on this side here. Brake fluid, it's pretty nasty. I mean, yeah, it's pretty nasty. So the point here that I'm trying to make is you have to have some way, either have a buddy help you pump the pedal, but you know, a lot of times when you get into a brake system that's been this bad in the first place, you're going to have a hard time just by pumping it. You know, of course, I'm doing this in hopes to get a good firm pedal on it. Container happens to sit real nice right there. I got my ladder over here so I can get more brake fluid in the system. And like I said, this is just to show you. That's really all that's for, is just to show you. A lot of people struggle hooking hoses to the actual bleeder nipples. Remember, there is air that can go around those threads when they're not tightened up, so you may or may not get flow. You know, we got flow now, but what I did is, let me get this nipple in here. I just took the bleeder out of it, and I used one of these fittings right here and just stick it in the back. So I'm not going to film the other side. I'm going to go ahead and continue on with this just for a minute, and I'm sure our brakes are going to be fine here in just a second. That really, in all reality, done cleared up a whole lot from what it was a while ago. It's getting nice and clear, so by the time this all said and done, there ain't going to be no more water in the system. You know, no rust building inside that locks the pistons up. It's going to be nice and clean fluid on top of everything else. It's going to be a full synthetic, so brakes on this thing shouldn't be a problem anymore. 10,000%. Not a sponsor, but Mighty Vac actually does make a real good hand vacuum pump. So you know, got to give credit where credit is due. They do make a mean pump. You know, if you're looking for one, do yourself a favor, get a good one. Lower the vehicle back down. I can already tell you, way better brakes than what we had. A vibrator works real good doing this, if you get my meaning. This has got real good pedal already compared to what it did have. We'll get the last little bit. We'll get it as good as we can get it. So we'll give that one little. I see a little bit of air bubble. If that continues to happen, that is a problem. I flushed almost a quart out of that system, so it's good, should be good and clean. Everything should be good and clean. Fairly certain the water that it had in it didn't do it no good. I don't see any more air coming out of it at this time. So for the moment, I'm going to go ahead and call that. The video is getting too long again. I'm going to say this is good. I'll have to road test it and turn the camera back on and get done. One more thing I want to share with you. I just now realized I didn't say that. Make sure that everything is sitting relatively straight, because this type of brake system here, it'll have to, in order for the brakes to be just right. Look up this type of brake system. There's videos out there that you can watch. I'm not going to go into details about that, but anyway, it is important that the rotor and everything sits relatively straight when you're doing the work on the brakes here. Like I said, there's videos out there. Watch those videos on that type of brake system. It is important that if you can, the best bet is to just go ahead and bolt the wheel onto it and let it and do your brake stand, do your bleeding with the wheels on.